The outrun is judged from when the handler sends the dog at his feet out to gather the sheep. And the judge is looking for the dog to be nice and wide, running in an arc, somewhat like a pear shape, so that he gets around behind the sheep without unduly disturbing them. Points can be lost on an outrun for being too wide or for being too tight or for the dog not feeling and judging a sheep properly. It's a very instinctive part of the work, in that the dog must have a sense of where he needs to be in order to get around the sheep smoothly without disturbing them, but without covering ground unnecessarily as well. And the outrun's worth 20 points. The next part of the course is called the lift, and it's the point at which the dog, once he's behind the sheep, makes contact with the sheep and gets them started on their way towards the handler. And the judge is hoping that the dog is going to show him a very smooth lift where he's in control. The sheep feel the dog's authority, but they're not unduly upset by the dog as well. And the lift is worth 10 points. Once the sheep are underway, then that part of the course is known as the fetch. And the judge is looking for a fetch to come in a nice straight line with the sheep under good control of the dog and the handler. The fetch is worth 20 points. The fetch continues until the sheep reach the handler's feet and they have to turn around the post. As they make the turn around the post, then they start off on the drive. And again, the judge is looking for the sheep to be under good command of the dog and moving at a nice even pace, not unduly hasty, but neither too slow. For the sheep to be traveling in smooth straight lines out to the various obstacles on the course. So the first set of panels that they encounter is the first leg of the drive, and the sheep are to go through that set of panels. The judge can take deductions off for any sheep that doesn't go through. Once you've passed an imaginary line or plane that intersects those two panels on the first leg of the drive, you cannot come back and make another attempt at those panels, so that you're obliged to carry on for the rest of the course. The judge is then hoping to see a nice tight turn around the back of the panels and then start on the cross drive across the course. Again, you want as straight a line as possible until you reach this far set of panels, which is your second set of drive panels. Again, you want all sheep to pass through the center of the panels, and you can't go back for a missed attempt. If you've gone by the panels, you must carry on and take a point deduction as if you miss. And then the third leg of the drive is actually when the sheep turn from the second set of drive panels and then come back.
When we discussed with Alistair the choice of obstacles for the end of the open run, the options were to do what we call a shed, where the sheep are in the shedding ring and the dog is asked to come in and split them into two groups. Or on some occasions there is this exercise obstacle called a Maltese cross, which is really a cross with 4 gates. And Alistair felt that it would be well worth trying on this field because he knew that the sheep would be quite difficult to shed. Very few of the handlers had the opportunity ever to work a Maltese cross. Several of us had done it before, but it did prove very difficult. There were, I think, 6 or 7 people who got the sheep through at least one arm, and only one handler got sheep through both. Alistair felt that it was a measure of stockmanship. It was a measure of the ability of the handler to read the sheep and to be able to direct the sheep into the cross.
These sheep are used to going through chutes because they are sorted for market once a week. They go through chutes to get on their local truck that may take them to fresh pastures, which was why we thought it would be worth trying the Maltese cross. What we didn't anticipate was the fact that with the past number of years moving to indoor lambing, the sheep have also got very accustomed to coming close to our feet and having us in close proximity to them. So it made doing a Maltese cross very, very difficult for the handlers on Sunday, because once the sheep reached the feet of the handler, they were quite content to just stay at the handler's feet and not proceed through the chutes. In a competition, we cannot touch the sheep, so It made it extremely difficult for the chute to be completed. Normally we expect the sheep to go straight through in one direction and then make a 90-degree turn and come straight through the other direction. And on Saturday, unfortunately, there was only one occasion where the sheep elected to do that, and only under great duress. So on Sunday we decided to include a different element in the open class, which is usually the more traditional part of the open class, which is called the shed. It's a very practical skill, being able to sort off sheep and hold them away from another group. Of course, the sheep are trying to join back up together because staying in a flock is their main protection, so they're doing everything they can to avoid being split. And it's a good dog that can come in with a lot of authority and take all avenues of escape off for those sheep until a handler releases the dog and allows the sheep to join up again. Judges usually will ask for the handlers to let 3 sheep go at the front and then call the dog to come in on the heads or facing the heads of the last 2 sheep. So that's the elements of a shed, and the shed is normally worth 10 points.
This is my 3rd year of trialing, so yes, I'm pretty new at it too. Your pups will run you from $500 to $700 for a decent pup, but compared to some other breeds, that's not bad, and you consider the quality of these dogs. This is Lad's pup. She's a female, and Lad's my open dog. He's 3 years old. So she's a keener. She's going to be good. I think she's already quite excited about sheep, and she's only 4 months old. I think the sheep can read the dogs really quickly. They make the dog think. They're not just going to follow along. They're smart. They read the dogs really quickly.
I don't do a lot of trialing, so maybe 8 times, where some people go every weekend. I relax. If you're nervous, then you pass it on to the dog and get them sort of hyped. So I try to be relaxed and keep her relaxed. She comes in at the sheep at the top, slow, takes charge of them, and they'll start in a straight line, and I don't have to give her command. Which is really what you want. You'll see a lot of people stop their dogs up there, but I never do. My sheep could be off over a hill and in the bush, and I can't see them anyway, and if I send her, she's got to go and do it on her own anyway, so I want her to do it on the trial field. You'll want her to look a bit so that she knows where they're going to drop the sheep off and stuff. You don't want them to look down where they're exhausting the sheep, because that they may go to there instead of looking up the field, but they shouldn't, but they could. So you kind of make sure that she knows where the sheep are being dropped off from the truck, and she's not going to go look at the exhaust. When I first started, I'd be so nervous, and now I can go out there and just block everything else out of my mind. I don't even know about the crowd or other dogs or what's going on, or just concentration.
You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what sheep you're going to get. You don't know what the weather's going to do. I got two retireds. One was, you remember someone was talking about the sheep that loves the human? Well, that sheep loved me. So I couldn't get her away from me. All right. So that was bad luck. The other time, I didn't get a hold of my dog. She wasn't listening too good. And so I walked off the course and retired myself, because if they get in the habit of not listening to you on a trial field like they do at home, then I'm going to ignore the handler.
Lie down, lie down. Away. Away. Lie down, lie down. Come by. Lie down. Away. Lie down.
Basically, it's a little plastic with a hole in it, and it takes a little while to learn how to blow it, because it's not like blowing a football whistle. There's a stop, which would be a particular whistle. There's a slow down, which would be a particular whistle. There's a go right, which would be a particular whistle. There'd be a go left, which would be a particular whistle. But the handlers decide what whistles they want to use with their dog. So that's why the whistles are different depending upon the handler and the dog.